So you've got Puppypaw spawning the lower side of the map today. Game number 1, the best of 3 in this decider, round of 16 for the Arabian Open Masters Tournament hosted by Adico and Rising Empires. Puppypaw, lower side, Red Chunks English, going with a man-at-arms start against Wam, light blue trunks, Abbasid today, top side of the map. So, very aggressive English opener, start of this decider series. Not in the decider match though, it's only the first game in the best of 3, so who will be drawing first blood here between Wam and Puppypaw?
مستعد.
Two newer Canadian players up against one another. I believe they're actually related, aren't they? So House of Wisdom start here for Wam. Could actually take the age up behind this. This will build faster than a regular landmark building, but then you've actually got to take the age ups at it. So Puppypaw, try and push Wam off the gold. Deny his chance to make use of fresh food stuff straight off the bat. Which means our Abbasid player be getting an eco when you can't really make use of straight away, because the beauty of that is you go for fresh food stuffs, the cost of 6 villages, you then half the price of all your villages for the rest of the game. Sorry, for the cost of 3 villages, but it'll take you 6 villages worth to actually save it, so to speak. So Wam, let's start going for his berries. Hasn't got a lot of sheep at the moment. Oh, he's got plenty on the scout, but he's just using him to keep looking for now. So Puppypaw aging up, only having to go for a couple of man-at-arms to start with, just to secure the map, deny the mining camp, deny any potential fast second town centre. So now the Abbasid player sort of stuck having to play 1 TC while doing the opening that they'd like to do 2 TC off. So Wam gonna have access to fresh food stuffs, but can't get the gold for it, can't get the stone for a second TC yet until he actually goes with a handful of horsemen and archers to actually clean up these man-at-arms, because there's not really any sort of direct counter to them this early on for the Abbasid player. Meanwhile, English player Puppypaw gonna get Council Hall, so access to Longbowman and improved archer. Actually, we're going to see some camel archers. These guys, at least they can sort of kite the man-at-arms. They are quite expensive, same sort of resource price as a knight or something of that nature. 240 cost, age 2 unit, and they are only light armored and light damage, so you got to be careful with them, but at the same time they are really good against spearmen, better than regular archers. I think they still suffer from the problem that archers do, where longbowmen do outrange them. In fact, I think they've even got a shorter attack range than archers, so you've got to be very careful with not overextending with them into the English player. Sort of relying on him actually trying to go for your horseman first. and really just use these guys sitting their price to try and either raid or clean up melee before it can actually engage anything of yours. And meanwhile, Puppypaw, English, one of the 4 civs that access to heavy units in Age 2. So trying to force direct fights with them is actually quite a good idea, although you can see the spearman doesn't take a lot of shots to take him down. Well, only a small number of longbowmen means it's quite hard to actually take down the camel archer. Man-at-arms, pretty much immune to damage from the horsemen, but at the same time, doesn't mean they can't necessarily save all the squishy units around them. So Puppypaw trying to deny Wham the ability to get any forward gathering here, although he's re-established presence on the gold mine. So fresh foodstuffs on the way. Even if he doesn't manage to play around 2 TC, by the time he spits out another 6 villagers, that upgrade will pay for it, and then every villager after that is going to be half the cost. So 3rd production facil being thrown down for Wham. Puppypaw, at the moment still sitting on 2, bearing in mind the council hall basically acts as 3, considering it has doubled production speed of the longbows. You can't actually access your crossbows out of them though, so I guess that's sort of the one downside of the landmark, is you sort of get used to playing around 2 range, but you haven't got the ability to transition to crossbows in Age 3 without also adding some ranges. Ultimately, I think that's a nice little catch there for Wham. Just taking a little bit of damage, but picks off to the 2 spears. And oh, if he catches this longbow, this is definitely going to be worth it, because that's more or less free damage there. So a couple of Puppypaw's reinforcements cut off, but still trying to take the engagement here. Trying to focus down the horsemen though with the longbow, so I wonder if it was worth maybe even trying to go for the archers there. So the longbows outrange and outdamage them slightly. And now those raiding units, they've gotten their kills out in the map, they're coming back to help clean up, and I think this has really ruined Puppypaw's rush here as such. I'm still not able to go to 2 TC, but slightly up in the army population now. And if you can stay even or ahead with that while having cavalry and camel archers, it, you know, really means he's going to have a more expensive army than the English, who normally used to trading with a slightly more expensive army, given they've got longbows and man-at-arms, compared to most other Age 2 light armor and light damage comps. So Wham, deciding not to really go for it. Before trying to see if he can harass with the longbows, but Wham pulling back far enough that he's safe. Couple of infantry there, just guarding the tower, which is going to get arrow slits. I don't know if that's going to give it the range to actually start working away at the stables. Yes, he's got arrow slits now, but still not quite far enough to actually hit anything. Just means the outpost becomes very hard to take down, even without anything garrisoned in it. Until there's access to rams or, yeah, heavy army units. Oh, saving a bit of gold now. I wonder if he's trying to work towards Castle Age here. Or Wham, he's just spending fucking everything. Going for a second town center now. So it's been a bit delayed, but it's only, I think, a minor inconvenience, because ultimately I think he has come out slightly ahead of all the tussling here in the feudal age. One villager going to get garrisoned. Oh no, he's actually going to get killed. Trying to attempt a repair. So Puppypaw still only on one town centre, but going to Castle Age, he'll be able to have a second. Wham already has that second town centre down now. It's been delayed, but this wasn't the end of the world for it. I think this little raiding pack probably going to get picked off here, as the longbows are going to get focused down first. But man-at-arms, quite tanky. But not going to be able to really pick off any more than that. Oh, he does get one of the archers. But Wham's army pop slightly up on Puppypaws at the moment. He's going to slowly start to mount a Vil lead for the same actual food investment. This cavalry engaging by themselves probably isn't such a great idea. Just going to take a bit of damage. Be more careful to not split this army up too much in case there's a bit of a bait by Wham, because the archers are just back there in tow. Let's wall off. Going to be a bit timely here, I think. So only ecotech so far. Wheelbarrow on both sides. We've got age 1 horticulture, food upgrade for the farms of our English player Puppypaw. Let's start working on filling up his third mill. The cheaper and faster gathering English farms. Really nice. Food gathering, while the other civs sort of press to try and get map control for food. Whereas English, obviously, you have to worry about it so much for gold and possibly for stone, depending on what they're trying to do. But eventually, I mean, there is fairly limited wood back here, so you do need to creep towards your opponent to even have the wood. A lot of walk time here for Puppypaw as well. Only got the one lumber camp, while you can see Wham's actually gone up to 3 over here, so it just makes the walk time a little bit smaller. Once he chops out this next set of trees, he'll probably put one last one right here, or even slightly over here. Just saves you, because all that, you know, 2, 3, 4 seconds they spend marching back and forth each time. If you can cut that down to a second or less, then obviously they're then able to start gathering resources a bit more quickly. Culture Wing. Double Broadaxe going to kick in here for Wham, leaving Puppypaw's Palisades alone. Puppypaw, it's on a wall in that lower side. Wham also just making sure to protect the food and gold over there. He's getting Castle Age. So you got King's Palace here. Puppypaw going to function as a town centre, while Wham's House of Wisdom, access to preservation of knowledge. So big saving of 30% cost on all techs. A bit like how Minework Palace works as an armory that does that, where all techs at it are 30% cheaper, but it works for everything now. So Abbasid player can now go for an armory and get a hell of a lot cheaper techs out of it. English player. Relying on the fact that he hasn't had to invest in a second town centre now, but in saying that, Puppypaw is down by 15 villages because of the less, I guess, macro-oriented opening. But of course the opposite player had to actually pay for the town centre separately to the landmark age up. Engagement going on down here, but Puppypaw will be pushing Wam back to the safety of his town centre. And now Wam going to have Lancers added into the mix as well, but we've got man-at-arms and we've got veteran longbows. And forward outpost attempt here being prevented by Wam, with Puppypaw's villager being picked off there. Probably part of the reason why that fight was going so well for Puppypaw is that Wam had this cavalry split off, but I mean, he is trailing a little bit in terms of army size. Kind of fall, but bearing in mind the horsemen don't do a huge amount to them. It's the knights that really sort of can fight cost effectively against them. Bearing in mind English do have access to some unique upgrades. Man-at-arms to make them stronger than normal. Not quite as good as the HRE upgrades if you want to be taking direct fights in the knights, but they're actually, I think, better upgrades for taking fights into ranged. Not really getting the compelling blow that it was looking for there.
Building on it looking good, and Celia building thing.
Puppypaw with a much larger army than Wam at the moment, who's relying on forward keep his opponent out. And he's also got the mangonel in the mix. Raid running straight into the army. All those horsemen just getting butchered for free there.
What shall each do?
Building done.
Puppypaw really walling himself in here, protecting a lot of stone, bit of food. Gold's probably the most important thing, food. Not really of any huge consequence to English with their infinite food economy. Opposite player Wam starting on his farm eco as well, bearing in mind he's going to invest twice as much for farms that aren't going to gather as fast. Puppypaw camping the relic over here. So Wam's managed to snatch one up and is grabbing a second at the moment though. Big infantry max out here for Puppypaw, while Wam mainly ranged infantry, still got a couple of established units, but he's mangonels now as well. It's a lot of spearmen. from Puppypaw, and considering Wham is all but cut, or merely just about entirely here. Interesting comp for Puppypaw to run into. I mean, he is going to have the better ranged unit, but he probably won't be expecting his opponent to have only ranged.
What should each do?
Adding more spears, I mean more man-at-arms. Oh, he does another spear in queue. A little run by, little raid attempts. Not going to take down the palisade, but this means Puppypaw is on edge a little bit, bringing the army back. Try and catch out the raid. Wham actually up to 114 villager pop at the moment. He's gone up to a third town centre, so he's really been squeezing out those vills. Now giving himself a 30 vill lead over Puppypaw here. That means that Puppypaw's army is a lot larger at the moment, and he's nearly maxed out. Wham is maxed out, but bearing in mind he's down by 25 army pop. Puppypaw is just going to go for it. Springles do take out his own Springle there. But Wham has fairly limited front line capability, with only veteran horsemen now running into man-at-arms, spears. The longbows can actually rain fire, and on the crossbows. Well, there is still a mangonel up, so it's going to make it tough for this range ball to actually extend too much further in here without really first going in. Not that much range, and Puppypaw's merely not having a huge amount of support in range of it, then merely all going down there. And now Puppypaw still up by 30 army count, but the worker count is still there, so economically he'll be struggling to keep maxing out behind this. He's going to try neutralizing Wham's Sacred. Well, Wham going to take the other Sacred. He's snatching up a fourth relic. Well, Puppypaw hasn't grabbed his first relic at the moment. Neutralize and actually stop to heal quickly, which is not a bad idea. Just top up all these longbows. Eventually prevent a bit of a wipeout of them against the mangonels. Wham, really nice hold on his side of the map at the moment, other than this gold mine in this corner, but might even be able to snatch the fifth relic up. There's the relic back here to grab. Oh, he's got a sacred side. Sorry, that's what it is. I was reading that wrong. I read that number 1 as holding onto the relic, but it's actually here. In saying that, yeah, he's going to be able to snatch it up pretty easily. So Wham going to Imp. Going to have 5 relics as well, so his gold trickle will be insane. Got the worker lead as well. But Puppypaw really relying on breaking him, because he does have that army size advantage at the moment. Wham's even probably going to have to more or less let some villagers go down while he takes the fight here. Give himself the population space he needs to grow his army a little bit further, because the resource pressure behind him isn't as severe at the moment. Bearing in mind, yeah, he's fighting with an army half the size of the English army, which, other than its lack of cavalry, is looking very formidable. But all it takes is a handful of horsemen and he can really be a threat to these mangonels. All his own hordes of longbowmen having to stop and try and clean up one of their counters. It's a lot of damage going into only 1 or 2 targets at a time, but in saying that, this range ball here for Wham, there's not a lot of beef left to it. But in saying that, he's a lot of Springles. Still has his mangonels, so Puppypaw Gonna try and retreat and not lose his spring eels through this. Add some more man-at-arms here, and I do have to wonder, is either of these players going to realise you're allowed to build knights in this matchup? Elite horseman now for Wam. Got a culverin in the mix. Take down the tower even faster. Puppypaw raiding with man-at-arms. Not a bad idea. Gonna get a couple of villagers. Gonna deny the farm eco somewhat. So Wam now in the up by 11 villagers at the moment. Puppypaw still with a small army size lead, but it's certainly nowhere near what it once was. Considering his composition, it could get a bit dicey here. He's got no cavalry, he's got no siege. I mean, I guess he's sort of saving Pop on not having spring eels while his opponent does, but he's also going to have a hard time getting on top of the mangonels unless he manages to get the longbows in range and sort of burst them down. So Wam got a mill over here. It's an interesting spot to put it. A bit more man-at-arms harass. And Puppypaw, who's now trying to snatch back his other sacred site. I think he might just be out of line of sight of this here. And he's thrown in the mix as well now for Wam, so really nice high hitting range unit. Big jump up from the numbers that crossbows do. Puppypaw now Imp himself is starting to get his own bombards. Trying to push into Wam himself. His own little maze of walls, slowing down Wam, but at the same time, yeah, he's going to have a few horsemen on his back. The Puppypaw found a way into Wam's base here. Range ball, going to be able to take some nice pot shots, but at the same time, it's going to be hard for them to actually tank a lot of damage from these horsemen. Wam being cleaned up around here, taking out a good number of Puppypaw's villagers though. The range ball probably going to have to keep moving now that the hand cannoneers have caught up with them. These guys are going to be a good bit stronger than the earlier tier range. Wam chipping away at a villager or two of Puppypaws here. He's going to be able to get a second one. He's be able to do so with the health and ranged armor of the upgraded elite horseman. So this is going great for Wam. A couple more villager kills with that for relative ease. His score is now about 4k in front of Puppypaw at this point. So army size pretty even, but I think compositionally favouring Wam. Puppypaw. That's a good number of villagers now. Culverins make short work of structures. Actually no, sorry, of enemy siege. Mangonels in the mix here as well for Wam, so Puppypaw and really sticking with, I guess I would even call this a castle age composition at this point. Just man-at-arms and Longbows. Trying to take the fight into horsemen, but these guys just have so much ranged armor at this point in the game. We're just better off trying to have spears and knights. No, obviously just encourages your opponent to build hand cannoneers and crossbows and their own melee of any sort to keep it off that said range ball, but Puppypaw has been walking away with his tail between his legs at a lot of these fights. A good amount of villager pop behind this. It's pretty good savings in the bank, quite a bit of food there. He probably even needs these guys back on that gold vein, considering, or back over on this wood line. Keeps actually going to heal nearby players. Camel's going to give a slight armor increase to nearby infantry. So we're getting into the ultra late game Abbasid here. Puppypaw. What's his response here? He doesn't even have any siege added at the moment. Huge amount of population locked up in siege for Wam. He's also ahead on Vilpop, but at the same time Puppypaw just can't seem to find the composition to break this horseman ball. I just really need to focus down the range ball. Unfortunately, a lot of melee left to fend for him. Longbows on the run here, but Man-at-Arms might be able to clean up enough of the horsemen. The longbows might be able to survive here, but there's enough backup camel archers. Crossbows here as well. Very tough for Puppypaw, and that's a good amount of his army now, and he's not got anything left in the bank. I think this may be it. GG. Wam takes game number 1.